Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central here in Kent, Ohio, bringing you another day of epic tales from our vault. Yes, we've got a large vault over here, and we just keep on taking out tales every single day. Although the tales we've been telling this month, we started at the beginning of the month, and we're still going. Coming up on the 129th birthday of His Imperial Majesty, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, leader of the 3,000-year, last emperor of the 3,000-year Solomonic dynasty of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie I, the first and the last. Praise the Most High, Jah Rastafari. So we're coming up on his birthday, into this week. I believe that's on Friday, today being the 21st. Yep, that'll be on Friday, July 23rd. So we're going to be doing we're going to shift gears on Friday. So look for a special presentation on Friday dealing with Haile Selassie specifically. But in the meanwhile, everything we're dealing with now is just dealing with some of that ancient background to set the stage for the telling of the story of Haile Selassie. And we're going to be focused on him for the rest of the month, starting on this Friday. Meanwhile, you know what you need to do tonight. Number one, give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. Number two, give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. And then third, but not the least of those things, we want you to spread the word far and wide across the land. We need you to be like a repeater. Okay, they have those in a number of different formats, dealing with radios, television broadcasts, electrical, pushing electricity from one power station into your home, etc. You have these power stations, small power stations, or repeaters. And so we're telling you some things, and we want you to take what we told you and repeat it. That's what we need you to do. Need you to be our voice out there in the wilderness of North America. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and do our proverb of the day. Let's see what we've got for you today. I know we got something good for you over here. Let's see what we've got, All right, here we go. The sweet rice is eaten quickly. The sweet rice is eaten quickly. I guess that's because it's so yummy in your tummy that you just gotta eat it quick, because you can't stand to wait to have to hit that lick. Sweet rice is eaten quickly, and that is a proverb from the nation of Sierra Leone, the mountain lion in West Africa. Got some good friends that came out of Sierra Leone. Brother by the name of Sam Bangura. Okay, bless his soul. Yes, good brother. We went to school together here at Kent State. All right, well, let's go ahead and do a little reading tonight. We're going to be continuing on with the story of my man, Abraham Anibal, and the Raiders of the Sands. Abraham Anibal and the Raiders of the Sands. Yes, we got plans for these Raiders of the Sands. And just as we've been reading about Abraham and the Queen of Sheba, etc., setting the stage for the telling of the story of Haile Selassie, by the same token, we're reading this story to set the stage for when we tell about Alexander, I believe his middle name is Sergeyevich Pushkin, or it might be Petrovich. It's either Petrovich or Sergeyevich. I get mixed up sometimes on which Vich he is, but he's one of them Viches, okay? Yeah, don't even think that I said something else I didn't say, okay? But at any rate, Abraham Anibal is the great-grandfather of Pushkin, and Pushkin is responsible for making Russian literature, a world literature, as opposed to just like a local dialect that nobody really spoke anymore, because everybody in all the important people, and actually the official language of Russia when he was coming up was French. That's what everybody aspired to do. They aspired to be like the French, just like now people aspire to be like the Americans, and so a lot of English being spoken around the world. And some places they speak Spanglish, and I even hear there's I think a Deutschlich. I think that's what they call it. You know, in other words, German and English mixed together. So we're in chapter number 23, the island, the Mediterranean, the island. For me, it's always, for me also, it's always goodbye. Goodbye, 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 replied Nagonga. And soon, maybe I will say goodbye to you too. Stop it, say Abraham. It's no good thinking about it. Look, let's see what this land is like. Master Ahmet can't stop us. Maybe we can escape him altogether. They scrambled up the steep wooded hill behind the beach and looked all around them to see what they could see and see just how it be that maybe they could escape and get away and even be free. There we go. But there was no land to escape into. They were on a tiny island with sheer rock cliffs on 3 sides, the harbor and beach on the 4th, and nothing but coarse grass, bushes, trees, and surprisingly, for an uninhabited island, a few dozen goats. Over towards where the evening sun was beginning to redden the sky was the dim smudge of a much larger island. But how to reach it? There was at least a tiny stream flowing down the hillside towards the sea, and the children drank thankfully from that. Far down below, they could see the other survivors. Some of them collapsed in huddles, others walking around purposefully as if searching for something. Master Ahmet and the other people need water too, said Nagonga. You mean you're worried they'll come here to look for it? I hope they'll find where the water flows down at the bottom of the hill, but we all need food. There are these goats, but how can we kill them? I don't have a knife, do you? Nagonga shook her head. I think we go back to the beach. How can we live here? How can we live there, Nagonga? Down there we have a master. We are slaves. Up here there is only us. We can be free. Let's stay one night, please. A little later, some of the men from the ship came clambering up the hillside and looked around just as the children had done. But it was an easy matter to hide in a clump of bushes, and soon the men went away. And best of all, as they lay hiding, they saw a nanny goat grazing nearby, and food. Her udder was stretched big and tight with milk. The 2 children looked at each other and grinned. I catch goat and you milk a goat, asked Nagonga in a whisper, or you catch goat and I milk the goat. We'll have to take it in turns, I think, said Abraham. We don't have a pot. I'll hold her first and you drink. We can try and catch her together. Ready? The 2 children leaped out from behind the bush and threw themselves at the goat. Then Abraham held it down round the 4 quarters with one arm, grabbed its back legs with his other hand, and Nagonga lay on her back, wriggled under its belly, and milked it straight into her mouth. The goat jumped and bleated like a mad thing, and Nagonga started off by getting a milk face wash. It wasn't made easier by the fact that she got a fit of the giggles, and then that started Abraham off too. At last, both the goat and the children quieted down, and Nagonga got a long, warm, satisfying drink And then she and Abraham changed places. It was an encouraging start. That night, their stomachs full of warm goat's milk, they slept on beds of sweet-smelling twigs. But Abraham lay awake a long while first, looking up at the bright stars, the new stars of the north that he had never known at home. This is like New Year and Christmas and Easter all rolled into one, the first day since Jeddah that I'm my own master. Chapter 24, Goat Island Explored. The next day, they breakfasted on milk and watched the people milling around on the beach below. They watched a group of sailors launch the lifeboat, and the survivors of the wreck crowded into it with a lot of fussing and splashing and arguing and headed off towards the distant island, Master Ahmet included. Nagonga and Abraham looked at each other in delight. We're free! Then the same thought struck both of them. Free to do what? Free to live on water and goat's milk on a tiny island for the rest of their lives? So this is a time frame. April to June 1704, chapter 24, Goat Island Explored. Free to see another human face, to never see another human face again? A ship will come, said Abraham firmly, a friendly ship. This is a safe harbor with fresh water. I think a lot of people must know about it. Or it will be a ship of slaves, like Master Ahmet's, answered Nagonga. We will go from the crocodile's teeth into the lion's claws. With a stab of longing, Abraham suddenly thought of Nimrod. It was terrible, but his memories of the old days were getting fainter. And sometimes a whole day could pass and he wouldn't think of home, even though he always meant to. He grabbed Nagonga's arm. Come on, Nagonga, let's explore our island. We're the masters here. Let's explore every inch. Who knows what we'll find? We can start by giving it a name. What shall we call it? Nagonga considered. Well, I think these goats will save our lives. We can call it Goat Island. Why not? In honor of them. Come on, let's explore Goat Island. It took longer than they expected, though there was nothing very special to see until, as the sun was getting to its highest, they found tucked inside the shade of a clump of trees a tumble-down little cottage. Oh, and the plot thickens. No one's living in there, commented Abraham, and no one's lived in there for a while. The windows were so small and high that even Nagonga couldn't see in through them. And they crept in through the cracked wooden door, half fearful of what they would find. The cottage was very dark. It still had some rough furniture, as well as some strange wooden tubs. They went and peered inside them. They were thick with a whitish scum. Sour milk, said Abraham, sniffing for a minute or two. The smell was very faint, but it was just like the butter-making pots at home when they'd been left too long without washing. But Nagonga wasn't listening. She was staring at the bed. It had nothing on it but a thin, straw-stuffed mattress, and right across it was a huge faded stain. I think this is blood, Abraham. What? Where? Nagonga pointed silently. The two children stared at the stain. Maybe, said Nagonga quietly, that is why the house is empty. Enemies killed this man, and maybe people are afraid to live in the house now. Without further discussion, the children tumbled out of the dark little house. They crashed through the trees as quickly as they could and ran out up the sunny slopes, right into the middle of some startled goats. Nagonga, panted Abraham, I think the man was the goat herd. That is why the goats are all alone on the island. People are afraid to live on this island, not just in the house. They must only be afraid if they think the killers will come back, said Nagonga slowly. You think they will come back? Let's say they won't come back, but we'll make sure we keep a good lookout in case they do. answered Abraham. And so, with this confusing advice, the children settled in on the island to wait for whoever or whatever might arrive. And so we end chapter 24, and we're coming up on chapter 25. Looks like the last chapter in this book. So we'll finish this book tomorrow, because I do believe that is the last chapter. Let me see. Yep, chapter 25, definitely last chapter. So we'll read that chapter tomorrow, chapter 25, and we'll finish up with the story of Abraham Anabal. Now, we always say we don't read anybody's entire piece, and in this case, it may seem like we broke that rule. However, there's a whole nother book, okay, that takes you from Goat Island all the way into Imperial Russia, up into St. Petersburg, okay, with Peter the Great and our hero, Abraham Anabal. So we're not going to read this volume. We'll leave that one maybe for another time, or maybe we'll leave it for you to go ahead and order that book online. You can find it on Amazon. We don't get any money for you buying anything on Amazon, but you can certainly go there and find both of these books and purchase the books and be able to read them for yourselves, as well as see the nice drawings that are inside, which we've been sharing with you. If you've been watching on YouTube, then you've seen the drawings in the book. They're all black and white drawings, but they're done very nicely, very tastefully, etc. So, and it's a really it's a very interesting story. Like I said, it's one of these stories that we never hear, and we certainly don't hear it from the perspective of a youth, of a child. Okay, and in this case, we're getting it from the perspective of a child. So that makes it, for me, that makes it doubly interesting that we're getting it from a child. But in the meanwhile, all you little children out there listening to the sound of my voice right now have something you need to do, and it is not a choice. But if you do it right now, maybe one day you'll be driving around in a big Rolls Royce, because it's time to lay your little heads down on your little pillow, on your little bed, and close those your eyes while you wait on the sun to rise. And when that big old sun comes up in that sky, you know what to do. If you want to be really fly, it's time to rise and shine and fly like an eagle all up into the sky, because a new day will have dawned, and you don't want to be caught yawning while the sun is dawning. You want to be fully rested so you can be at your best, so when that sun arises, you can be able to meet and pass every single test, because you'll be at your best. In the meanwhile, all you adults out there, you know what we need you to do. Number one, give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. And then go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel on YouTube. That's our channel. That's where you'll find me, Doc Ock, at noon and 9, 5 days out the week, Saturdays and Sundays. We have special programs that we do, and we got a new one coming for you this weekend too. So look out for that at 12 o'clock noon, Saturday and Sunday coming up. In the meanwhile, peace out without a doubt, with justice, because anything less disgusts us. And we don't like being disgusted. We don't mind being discussed, but we do not like being disgusted. Peace, at least.